Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon, and I'm the Dean of Graduate Studies at Charles Darwin University. Welcome to Outrider 26. Final thesis review. This is the end. Yes, this is the this is the end of our backward mapping quartet. We've explored the notion of milestones and how backward mapping can enable the completion of your PhD. This is big. And of course, we are joined once more by Hector. This is a very, very special Hector. This is who I describe as Big Hector. Welcome to Big Hector. And the reason we've got Big Hector, can I say, he's a real mongrel to put into hand luggage, can I say? But the one thing about the legendary Big Hector is he reminds us all that this final thesis review is actually a really, really, really big deal. This is everything, to be honest with you, because this milestone reports on your completion. Or indeed it reports on the last couple of months, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 months to get you to completion. This is crucial. This milestone also has another crucial role. And I'm looking straight at all the people out there, hello. This milestone is crucial if you are in trouble. So you've hit this final milestone and you're still a long, long, long way away from completion. So this milestone is going to get you home, and it's going to get you home with honesty and with accountability. This is a crucial moment because it acknowledges success, and so rarely in academic life do we acknowledge success. So it also provides for the students that are just about finished, this is crucial, provides this infusion of feedback. And this feedback from assessors at this point is discovering things that your examiners will find. So assessors at this point can move a thesis from a revise and resubmit to a major corrections, or a major corrections to a minor corrections, or indeed a minor corrections to straight through without corrections. So this infusion of commentary at this crucial point can save you weeks, months, maybe a year of your life. And remember, the whole reason we're using wonderful Hector is because he's a reminder to you, to me, to all of us, that time is precious. What is a month of your life worth? What is a year of your life worth? But also, let's say you're in trouble. Hi. Your timelines are blown out completely. Your thesis is a mess. Let's just call a spade a shovel. Your thesis is a mess. And therefore, this final thesis review is going to apply all the principles that we've activated through this milestone series. We're going to look very strongly at backward mapping, and we're going to then render this uncontrollable mess of a thesis into a successful research project. And we do that by honesty, accountability, and backward mapping. So let me tell you why this final milestone matters so much. I recently talked with a gentleman who had been enrolled for 6.5 years. And I had a meeting with him and I asked how much he had left to do. So 6.5 years enrollment, mate, wow. How much have you got left to do, mate? And his response was, dunno. 6.5 years. I also recently talked to another student, another gentleman who was enrolled for 8 years. And I said to him, mate, what's left to finish here? And he said, oh, look, I reckon I'm about 2/3 done. I reckon I've got about 1/3 to go. 8 years. So don't be these gentlemen. Let's walk through these 3 milestones and interim milestones if you're part-time, and let's be accountable. Let's be responsible for our own lives and our own research project. Let's control your research, control your life, control your timelines. So even if you're embarrassed, and embarrassment and shame is very, very common in the final year of a PhD. So even if you are embarrassed, I understand that, acknowledge that in yourself. Okay, you've missed deadlines. You're worried, you're frightened. So what we're going to do in this final thesis review, your assessors, your deans, your supervisors, your librarians, all of us as a family are going to cluster around you and create the support structures to get you home. So this moment starts with your honesty, but it finishes with support to your completion. So this final thesis milestone is confronting if you're not finished, or maybe you're not even close to being finished. But we do have to be responsible for our actions, all of us. And if you're in trouble, actually, this final milestone is absolutely crucial. This is the only thing that is going to save you. Okay, so if you're not there or thereabouts, so if you've still got a fair chunk to do, then this milestone is crucial. Putting another way, if this helps you, if you're in the middle of hell, and all of us have been there, if you're in the middle of hell, you have to keep walking. All right? If you're in the middle of hell and you know what, you stop and have a scratch and have a bit of a complaint and blame your supervisor, you're going to burn up. If you stop walking in hell, you will burn. So in this final thesis milestone, for those of you in trouble, acknowledge the trouble. And then all of us can gather around you and explain how we get you out of trouble. And all sorts of support structures are available to you in our universities to get you home. But you have to just acknowledge the problem, and then we can solve the problem. So this is really the Jedi milestone moment of your life. The light side of the Force, I'm finished. I'm just about finished. Life is pretty good. But then, of course, the dark side of the Force. I'm in hell. And how the hell do I get out of here? Now we're going to address both of these in this milestone. So let's go to the easy stuff first. Yes, this is a milestone, so all the principles we've talked about are actioned here. You are reporting some elements in your milestone. So you're reporting, for example, your professional development. And then you are stating how your professional development has fed into your thesis. Now, at this point, you may have an internship that you're acknowledging, a series of mentoring or networking relationships and affiliations that you're talking about. You may be talking about stakeholders and dissemination to those stakeholders. Tremendous, brilliant, fabulous. You are reporting the completed chapters and perhaps the work left to complete. For those of you that are the unicorns, that are finished in 3 years, we wish you well. This is a moment of success and achievement and acknowledgement about how fabulous you are and how well you've enacted your time and task management. So for these students, this milestone is an absolute privilege because you're reporting success, because the backward mapping has worked. Boom. Fabulous. You're also reporting any publications and conferences, and also, and I may do an outrider on this, talk about what you are going to do for the 2 months while the thesis is under examination. So it's very important that you have a plan for the examination period. It may be involving publications, professional development, dissemination through multimodal channels, or community engagement. This is the moment also where you commence backward mapping for your next project, because your thesis provides the seed for the next stage of your life and your next research projects. Every project that you ever complete has a kernel of your next project within it. So, use this success, profound success of a successfully completed PhD as the foundation for your next project, and go again. Enact backward mapping. At this stage, for the successful students that have got through, they're there or thereabouts at this point, there are two other crucial jobs you have to enact in this milestone: academic integrity and research integrity. Oh yeah. Now, of course, academic integrity is where we are assessing your referencing, your citation. We're making sure that the paraphrasing, plagiarism relationship is on the good side, the light side of the force, and you're going to put some documents, in fact, I'd put your whole thesis through, authenticate, a text matching software. You, your supervisor, your assessors, please check this report, check it line at a time, and confirm that everything is in place. So yes, please work with Authenticate. We're about to do some interesting work on text matching and Authenticate, and it's important that you assess that document carefully. You verify that academic integrity measures are in place. Your referencing is correct. Then we get to research integrity. Oh my goodness me. If you've written publications that are a part or a large chunk of your thesis, that's great. That's great. You've got to log that. But particularly if there is collaborative research in your thesis, you will have to, at the point of submission, confirm your authorship. And I mean authorship of every part of your thesis. It is your thesis. It is your work, and examiners need to know, they need to confirm that every word that they are reading is your work. They need to guarantee the authorship of the thesis they are assessing. You need to be absolutely clear and precise in your PhD in terms of the research design, data collection and analysis, and substantive writing and editing. And all your co-authors will have to sign off a form to confirm your role in those articles and their role in those articles in terms of a percentage of contribution. And that form is sent on to your examiners. So if you believe there's going to be a research integrity issue, well, we need to sort it out at this final milestone, right? Be very, very clear about authorship. You need to remove all ambiguity and confusion and weirdness at this point. You do not want this thing bouncing back to you during the examination period. And yes, I have seen many, many examination processes where the student was unable to guarantee that their work was actually their work. And the examiner simply went, you know what, I'm not sure this is the student's work. And they either sent it back to the university or they sent it back to the university demanding research misconduct charges and proceedings be actioned. So don't think for one moment this isn't serious. This is life-altering stuff. So for those of you on the light side of the force, tremendous, well done, you finished, great. Just make sure now that the research integrity and the academic integrity measures are in place. That's the crucial final bit of this milestone. Now let's go to the dark side of the force. Hi, to all the Sith Lords out there, good on you, let's sort this out. This is the final milestone, okay, and you haven't finished. Final milestone, and you haven't finished. This is what you need to do. Firstly, start with the positive, list everything you have finished, all the chapters, the conference proceedings, the publications, everything. List everything you have done, professional development. Show the milestone development from the mid-candidature review. Okay, so you had that mid-candidature point, you said you were going to finish these things in the next year. List the things you did actually finish. Great. Well done. It's important to start like that. These are the things you have done. Terrific. Now, be honest. List the work that is yet to be completed. And when you list those tasks, you also need to attach a time to them. Remember what we're doing? Task orientation is being aligned with time orientation. So you can use whatever you like. You can use a Gantt chart. There's all sorts of really great apps available that help you do project management, right? So be honest. List the problems. What's gone wrong here? What's gone wrong? The problems may be technical, so experiments failed, samples didn't arrive in time, express that. They may be personal, someone died during the candidature. They may be professional, something sort of happened in your workplace. Okay, now you need to log these matters. But they're not excuses, because plenty of people have lost somebody during a candidature and they finished in 3 years. Plenty of people had samples arrive late and they still finished the thesis in 3 years. Okay, so log these matters. This is reality, but what you're now doing is backward mapping and explaining how from here you're going to get this to examination. This is a truth, really, a foundational truth of my life, that we achieve what we focus on. We achieve what we focus on. Therefore, if you focus on the completion, you're going to do what you need to do to get there. If you focus on the process, if you wallow in the problems, if you create blame narratives, then you're not going to finish this thing, because you're going to get focused on the blame structures around you. Right. If you focus on the process, that doesn't help you. Focus on the end point. Backward map. Because what's happening when you're focusing on the problems is you're blocking yourself from focusing on the completion and the solutions. Right. The other maxim I use that comes from my great mother, who's currently 93 years of age, good on you, Doris, is my mother always said, as I grew up, if you want a different outcome, you got to do stuff differently. You want a different outcome, you got to do stuff differently. And I probably didn't get that when I was a kid. I really, really, really get that now. Because once you've listed all the work that's left to complete, you've got to come up with a strategy to finish. Now, what you've got to acknowledge, and this is hard stuff, you've got to acknowledge, okay, well, what I have been doing hasn't worked. My behaviour, the patterning of my behaviour, has not worked, because I haven't delivered this thesis to completion. So if we want a different outcome, we have to do something differently. So your schedule may have to change now. You may have to ask your wonderful partner and or your family and or your friends to help you for 2 solid months so you can get this thing home. And if people are sacrificing, and they are for you, then that must be finite. This thing can't go on for years. That's not fair to the other people around you. So the questions for you to consider at this time is, what experiments are left to do? How are you going to do them? And when are you going to do them? Right. How are you going to do that final slab of reading that updates your literature review? And what is stopping you? And finally, when are you actually going to write this thing up to completion? Now, let me just tell you a truth that comes from a dean's office. I see hundreds of students in my office. And when students are behind, they use a proxy to explain what's going on. And that proxy is always, oh, look, I can't write. I have problems with my writing, right? Writing becomes the proxy for not finishing. The bottom line is, colleagues, get the words on the page. Just slam down a thesis. Get it to the first draft stage. Done is better than perfect. It's never going to be perfect. So don't get all worried about, my writing. Nah. Slam the prose down, because then what happens, great writing is created through editing and drafting, not writing itself. So after you've slammed down that first draft, then you can enact a structure like my 10 drafts to completion, or whatever suits your supervisors. And if you'd like me to do work on the 10 drafts to completion, I can, because it gets students through from first draft to completion very quickly. But you need to get, desperately, you need to get to that full first draft and explain in your milestone what is going to change. So what you've been doing has not delivered a completion. What are you going to change to deliver that completion? And yes, this is confronting, because it's saying, you know what? I've done stuff wrong. And of course, our whole culture is based on us not dealing with that issue. It's based on, oh, look, I'm great, I'm fantastic. It's all those other people that are a problem. I'm tremendous. And of course, a PhD is a moment of incredible honesty, colleagues, because we have to look in the mirror every day and go, you know what, I had a bad day. I was meant to finish this and I didn't. No one else is to blame. I didn't. So therefore, what are you going to do differently to make and create a successful completion. Okay, you're nearly finished though. Map what is left to complete, put timelines on it, and explain what you're going to change in your life to get to that success. Thank you so much for joining me on this backward mapping journey. Now, I'm going to grab him again, he's so big. Hector, of course. Bless him. Hector has been part of this journey. Hector and all his children have been part of this journey. And he has existed for us for a reason, and that is to remind you that your life matters. Your time matters. Time is all we have. A PhD is a key stage in your life, but it's just that. It's a stage. It's not your life. And with backward mapping, you can move on with clarity, with brilliance, and yes, with success. I wish you love, light, and peace. Tea out.